What up? It's 92.9 WDUP, New London's home of timeless hip hop and R&B. Very, very special guest in the building. She's trending. I'll let her tell you why. We have Christal Johnson, journalist, best-selling author, PR. I'll let her tell you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for checking in with us.
Absolutely. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited. So yeah. I'm not one to toot my own horn. So
We encourage that here. Do that.
I'm not. That's not my thing. But obviously, I'm a journalist. I've been a journalist and a writer. I think from the time I was, I can remember. Publicity became what I did for my career, but writing and really interviewing people and getting to being able to transition words into feelings into words and get people to understand where other people are coming from and to celebrate our culture is a big thing to me. So obviously getting this interview with Jada Pinkett-Smith right now, because Jada and Will have been trending for what, like dang near.
And this is thanks to you. And I mean, you was the jump off point. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, actually, hold up, Cubby was a jump off when it came out that Jada and Will have been separated, right?
Right.
And then I just added a little fire to the flame. But I would go back and say, if we're gonna be honest, like it's been ever since the August Alsina entanglement that people have been wondering, like, what is going on? That happened, and then of course the infamous Oscar slap, and then this Will's book, which I have a copy of. Jada's book is actually in my bathtub because I had that finishing it up. It's really, really good. But shouts out to Will Smith. I got that book and did a couple of pieces on that as well. So I feel like we were waiting to hear from Jada outside of Red Table Talk. And boy, did we ever.
Understatement of the year. Like, I mean, like how have you been handling it? Because I know like everybody's kind of, coming your way is like, yo, getting your reaction to it. Like, I mean, she said a lot, you know what I'm saying? And like as far as like the fallout might be too strong for word, but it's just like the reaction and people on Team Will, some people still defend Jada. Like, talk about that whole experience that you put that out.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say as a woman interviewing her, there's a lot more to our interview than the snippet that was released, obviously. And I really gotta say I'm a fan of both of them. And the conversation, I really just wanted to hear what she had to say because I read the book and so much of the book talked about her relationship with Tupac. And for me, it really sounded like someone that, it did sound like a soulmate because they had this really, really passionate relationship, not passionate as far as sex, but they both were passionate about a lot of the same things, and the way she loved him and the way he loved her. I honestly believe, and I hate to say this, I really believe if Tupac had not passed, the two of them would probably have ended up either together or trying at least to be together because it just was too strong. So her acknowledging in this book that he had proposed to her, that was new news. And so my question to her was simple, like, and I think most people would have asked it, like, have you ever regretted saying no? And she said no. I don't know if I believe her, but I think that's the right thing to say when you're married to someone else. But she explained why they didn't cross that line, or they tried to, but they weren't able to really start a relationship. But I feel like, when you're thinking about people that are 23, 24 years old, 21, 22 years old, you still haven't come into the full essence of who you are. So I really believe that if they had, if he had lived longer, first of all, I think, hip hop would be in such a better state today.
Big.
Hey, yeah, I'm a Tupac fan. I mean, I remember when he passed, just feeling, so much hurt for someone that I did not know personally, but he was the type of person that made you feel him. And I really believe the two of them would have tried to, their romance again if he had not passed away.
I mean, but like, I think the whole backlash with that is like we acting like Will Smith ain't an icon his damn self. You know what I'm saying? Like, Will Smith, you Fresh Prince. All right.
Fresh Prince. No, he's. I mean, no. And I think first of all, we have to realize this is proof that money and success do not buy happiness or chemistry, right? Will Smith is I mean, he is an icon. He is a beautiful example of Black excellence. He is, you know, he made a mistake, but you cannot negate the fact that for at least 3 decades, Will Smith has been one of the most consistent, productive examples for our community, from The Fresh Prince and the impact that it had on children born in the 90s. I mean, that was their Cosby Show. Like, they grew up wanting to emulate him, you know, seeing the relationship, the parental relationship between himself and Uncle Phil. I mean, you know, Drake's record, it's an impactful show. And I think he has been an impactful man, an influential man, and we are all human. So if we take the 90% of good that Will Smith has given our community, and then, you know, chastise him or want to cancel him because of a mistake, that's not right. And I mean, Jada's a talented, amazing woman in her own right.
Yeah.
But just because a person is amazing doesn't mean that you're supposed to be with them or that you're going to have that type of chemistry. And one of the things that I can appreciate about Jada is she's not a person that operates in the Hollywood mindset. She's still very much who she was. And most of us are usually very connected to who we were as we grew up. You know, you can get a lot of money, you can get a lot of success, but at your core, she's that girl from Baltimore. You know, that's just who she is. Yeah. And I feel like when you meet someone in high school, like for myself, when I go home to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm around my friends that I went to high school with, the Booker T. Washington Hornets from 1999, I actually, like, I can be myself in a total different way. So you think about Jada and Tupac meeting in high school and being able to connect and talk about their dreams and have each other's back. That's a different type of connection than you would have with someone that you met later on, even in your early 20s. So no disrespect to Will Smith. I mean, how can you? You can't disrespect Will, you know? Yeah. But I do think there is something very special about Jada and Tupac's relationship.
Okay, and that's fair, but like, yo, she said it on your platform herself. It's like, yo, that connection was there. Like, maybe it could have grown like when he got older and stuff like that.
I think so, because Tupac passed at 24. Yeah. 24 is extremely young.
You still can, you baby. Yeah.
You're a baby. Imagine what a 30-year-old Tupac would have been like, a 35-year-old Tupac. We imagine all the knowledge and insight and wisdom and just, you know, understanding of community that he had at 24. If he had been able to mature and grow, I think things would have been different. And one of the things that he said in his letter to her that she reveals in the book is that, you know, he felt like God revealed to him that, you know, his homie, lover, soulmate was all in the same package, right? So I feel like when I watched A Different World and you see Pac and Jada together in that scene, you cannot deny the chemistry that the two of them have. It felt very palpable. I remember watching that episode and thinking, is this real life? Or is that because the guy that she was with seemed very much like Will. And then there was Tupac and he was, you know, threatening the relationship. So I feel like it was art imitating life.
Okay. But let me ask you this though. Do you feel it's fair to like emasculate? I mean, I'm not saying she did it, you know what I mean? But the narrative is like she has been out here emasculating Will, who's an icon himself. All right, maybe, you know what I mean, they're not soulmates, whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's facts the way you describe. But it's just like, yo, I mean, y'all got kids together, they grown now. And do you think that's like the right path to actually take, even though Pop been going for 27 years? You know what I'm saying?
No, I said, I guess, no, I mean, I say this, you really can't tell someone what they should do unless you walk in their shoes. I'm a married woman. And I would never talk about another man like that ever. You know, because of out of respect for my husband. And like you said, I mean, Will Smith this is a public platform, and she's got to know that when she says things like this, even the book, like I'm reading the book and I'm like, man, a lot of this book is about Tupac. Will is, you know, probably at the last 25%, but a lot of it is, you know, Tupac is there, you know, from early on until he passes away. So for me, I probably would not do that. But I also got to say, and, you know, we had a conversation about this last night on my YouTube channel with 2 therapists. And the thing about it is Will married Jada. Will knows who Jada is. And when if people read this book, they'll see there were times that Jada was very clear about the fact that she did not want to get married. She was very hesitant about the structure of marriage for herself. So I don't think that anything that we're learning in this book is anything that Will does not know. I also don't think that it takes away from the man that he is, because we all realize that Will is not deserving.
Hey, Chris, you still there? Oh, hope we ain't lose her.
It's not,
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we have to take it and understand, Will understands who his wife is. Now,
Hey, Crystal, I don't know if you can hear me. You cutting in and out. I mean, we kind of getting the gist of that. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, if we lose the signal, we get you right back. Yeah. Hello, you there? There we go. All right.
okay. I was like, what happened?
Yeah. I know you dropped, but like, I mean, I think we got the gist of what you were saying. You know what I'm saying? Before the signal dropped, but it just do you feel like it's warranted though? Like the backlash you've been getting? Like, I mean, I know you like Will went to it knowing what she's about and stuff like that, but like when you actually gotta deal with the fallout, the public fallout, I mean, it's a whole nother beast too, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I think a lot of people kind of like, siding with Will, just like, man, when you hear
But
the topic of Jada and Will, it kind of make Will look kind of emasculated a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
I know, I agree with you. And at
Yeah.
first, I'm not gonna lie, I felt that way for Will. And then I see the video on her TikTok of them all opening the book together. She told me in the interview that Will read the book cover to cover and he was in support of her. We see he released a joke today saying, this is what I think, and laugh. So I think that would I do it? No, but they have to have an understanding that we don't understand. I don't feel like he feels emasculated. We don't know what else is on the other side. Also in Will's book, Will talks about, Will has acknowledged publicly that he would love to have a harem of women and that he was attracted to Holly Berry and Misty Copeland. I mean, that as a wife, I wouldn't want to hear my husband say that. But I think we're in a culture that really villainizes women a lot more than we do men. If a man says that, it's like, oh, okay, that's normal. But as a woman, that would hurt my feelings if my husband was like, I fantasize about, Beyonce. I'd be like, that would be hurtful, So I think they both come out, and said things. I think they share a lot of their relationship, but maybe to whom much is given, much is required. And maybe it will help other people deal with things that they are dealing with. The book, yes, the provocative pieces are going viral, but I can say as someone that's read the entire book, it is really a good book. And I think that it'll help a lot of people that come from toxicity. Jada's parents were both drug addicts, right? She grew up in a very toxic environment, but she rose above it and became successful. Will also grew up in a very toxic environment, different, but toxic. For me, I grew up, my father was a drug addict as well. So I think that it helps when you share your story, and maybe because her blessing has been bigger, also her, her obstacles are bigger as well. And the same with Will. I wish them both, the best, and however that is, but I do understand why people are responding that way.
Yeah, you might have the inside. I mean, share what you can. You know what I mean? But like the reaction, did they see that coming, or are they just laughing at the bank? Like they just like, yeah, y'all can talk about it, because you see Will Smith pointing out the IG, just having fun with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, are they laughing on their way to the bank, or like some of like the backlash kind of affect them a little bit? Have you got that sense at all?
Yeah, I don't think that they expected this to go the way it has, especially with the Tupac is a soulmate, question and all that. I don't think that they expected that, because I'll just say that I know that wasn't expected, because I did get a call, but I also think you got to realize when you put out a book, starting with the fact that you were contemplating suicide, acknowledging the fact that you've used psychedelics and that your child has introduced you to, there's a lot of pieces in that book that people are going to use as talking points, And I also think they are A-list celebrities. They are people that are known around the globe. So they have to be used to it in a way that you and I are not. Right. I don't want my business in the street like that, but I also am not a celebrated A-list that's a lot. You know, a lot of people think they want something. A lot of women think they want to be with Will Smith, but you know, Jada talks about being someplace and women just throwing themselves in your husband's face without regard. Like that's a lifestyle that comes with different blessings, but also different trials and tragedies. And I think that a lot of people, we're talking and we don't really understand the whole, you know, the scope of where they are.
Yeah, so I was actually able to listen. I caught audio books, so I was actually I'm always on the road, always on the run. But
Yeah.
yeah, I listened to the Will Smith book, so I identified with that. I didn't get to check Jada's yet, and I'm definitely check that out. And I feel like her whole press run right now is doing is making everybody more intrigued to actually want to, check her book. So like you're getting the
Yeah,
desired
she gonna
effect.
be a best.
Yeah,
She's probably a bestseller now. It's probably a
yeah,
best-selling book now, and I think that it probably will lead to other opportunities. We know that Red Table Talk blew Facebook's media, Meta's media up. She basically birthed that. Red Table Talk brought Facebook, their television platform, to life. And I would say, not that I can predict the future, but I believe that this book, because it's such a therapeutic glimpse into how a person has dealt with trauma, I think it's going to lead to a bigger opportunity for her.
yeah, absolutely. And again, like what I mean, I'm from the Fresh Prince school. You know what I'm saying? So like, I remember seeing Fresh Prince, Will Smith, bagging on the honeys. But like my whole game, my whole thing was like joking like Will Smith. I kind of patterned my whole game after
So
Fresh Prince.
you feel personally attacked
So
at this
yeah, no,
point.
I do not like it. I don't like seeing my dog Will like this. But I get both sides of it, you know what I'm saying? So it's fair. But yeah, I ain't gonna
But you
front
know
my
what? You know what's so ironic about this?
yeah.
You know, Will Smith went to meet with Jada to ask him to audition to be the girlfriend in The Fresh Prince,
And she
and
ain't get it, she ain't get it.
she didn't. The producers thought she was too short,
Yeah,
but that's the woman that he wanted,
yeah,
right?
it's crazy.
So
Yeah.
I think it's also a lesson. You know, I worked with we did a cover on Marlon Wayans when Marlon did the special on his relationship with Jada and Will and Chris Rock. And Marlon said he thought he wanted Jada, but now he realized maybe he didn't. So I think that's a great lesson for men to know that sometimes the woman that you want may not
For
be the
you.
woman that you need, you know?
That's fit. Yeah, we're here with Crystal Jordan, and I want to talk about your book. Dear
Okay.
Alpha Female, it's not him, it's you. Let's get into
Woo.
that a little bit. You know what I mean? What inspired that? And clearly you're an alpha female, and can you coexist with an alpha male? Talk about that a
Yeah,
little bit in depth.
I definitely can coexist with alpha male. I'm married to one.
Okay.
But it's not easy. It's not easy. But I will say that the book came from, you know, I live in Atlanta, and there are, you know, hundreds, thousands probably of successful, beautiful, you know, career driven women. And so many of them are single, right? I was one of them. I was married early on, went through a divorce, and I was single. And I just was like, you know, we're thinking most women, you know, they get to a certain level in their career because women usually attack their careers in a much more personal way than men do. Men kind of compartmentalize. Women give their career their all. So I'm going to bed with my laptop, my cell phone. I'm trying to get it, right? And all my girlfriends are doing the same thing. But as a result, we're all very, very single because men don't find that attractive, right? They may like how you look, like you got a fat ass, but the fact that your focus is work is not attractive to men. And so I went on I'm gonna fix my life. Because one of my girlfriends is a radio personality here, Miss Shanika, shouts out to her. She said, you know, Christal, maybe it's us. And I was like, nah, it's these guys here. It's not us. But you know, I went
Yeah.
on the show and I actually was open to hearing the criticism, and the criticism was the front that I was coming with for work. Because when you work in entertainment in a male dominated industry, I had to put up a front so men would know I was serious. When I wasn't able to understand how to take that down. So when I would go on a date, I have two phones on the table, the phones are going off, I'm answering, I got a client doing this, and the guy would just be like, and things would not work out. And so I had to take accountability for the fact that a lot of the things that I was wanting, I was not willing to offer. And that's me. And then I started looking around at all of my girlfriends and I'm like, oh, we're all doing this wrong. You know, we're all successful. Everyone has their own beauties in the eye of the beholder. So there's beauty there with everybody in their own way. There's a reason that you're single. And usually that reason, you have to look internally to figure out what you're doing. All the men can't be wrong. All the men don't just want to take advantage. There has to be a point where you take some accountability. And that's really what this book was about. I say it is Dear Alpha Female, it's not him, it's you, but it's also a love letter wrapped in accountability, because I want successful women who have overcome the obstacles in their life, overcome the odds, defy statistics. I want you to find love, because, you know, love will not, money, degrees, big house, a lot of money in the bank will not hold you at night. It will not be your emergency contact when something happens. And I think in our community, so many of us are looking at awards, accolades, and getting the success, and not really valuing somebody who really loves you and has your back, and that you can do the same thing for. We've lost the understanding of how important that is and how much that makes you a more balanced person. Because most women who are totally career driven, they're very imbalanced. And I know, because I was one of them. And so that's what this book is about. It really is about helping my sisters find that thing that they're missing, and that I think would make their lives so much richer and so much happier.
So the as far as the layout of the book, are you giving like bullet points, or you actually just like telling like stories you had to, go through and everything like that? Like what can they expect from the actual book and the layout on how you actually tell them the story you want to give them?
Yeah, well, it's really in your face information, and it's not necessarily bullet points, but each chapter deals with something different. And I really break down how, because I'll just use this as an example. There are a lot of women that I know that they want something, right? And they'll see a man that has all the qualities that they want, but he's married or he's engaged. And they will go after that man anyway, because it's like, I want what I want. I've been able to get what I want in my career. I've been able to get what I want as far as the house that I want. But at the end of the day, a man needs to choose you, right? You can't choose him the way you chose a house. You can't add him to your list of cars and things like that. And so it really is just telling women some good old fashioned advice. It's the advice that your grandmother and your great grandmother and your great aunts would have sat down and told you, right? How can you expect someone to love you when you aren't loving yourself fully? When you love work more than you love yourself. So how can you expect a man to come in and see value there when you don't even see value beyond all the designer labels and all the things that you're putting in front of yourself? So it's really a reality check, I feel like, to women. Part 2 is coming out next year, because there's been such a response to it. And I feel like every time I have a conversation with successful Black women, I feel like I need to give them a copy of the book. So the work is not.
So let me ask you this a social media question that I feel like everything you said sounds great. It sounds amazing. You know what I mean? But like, all right, maybe the man ain't as successful as you are. You know what I'm saying? Can you date down? You know what I'm saying? Because like we always hear discuss this from time to time. Like, all right, maybe the guy hit his mark. He's a great. He check all the boxes. That's great. But maybe all right, you hit your number. He didn't. Like, how do you being an alpha woman deal with that?
Well, I feel like you have to know who you are, right? You have to know who you are first and what's important to you. I believe, there was a conversation a little while ago. There have been a couple that are around this topic where Ebony K. Williams, said, I would not date a bus driver, right? And so I was having a conversation on my YouTube channel about that. And a young lady was like, well, I want a man who owns his own business. I don't want someone that works for someone else. I want him to have extra income so we can travel. I want him to rub my feet. I want him to pay a lot of attention to me. And I say, as women, we have to be realistic. You have to know what is important to you. Men that have a lot of money usually don't have a lot of time. So this person that is able to rub your feet and take you on vacations and is a multimillionaire, that does not exist in the way that you're asking for it. So I feel like women have to be realistic. I would always hear men say women they are not realistic. And I never understood what they meant until I started having these conversations with women. So I think you need to figure out what is important to you. If you want a man who is an entrepreneur, I know as an entrepreneur, I work all the time, right? Where entrepreneurship takes a lot out of you. There also are ebbs and flows. Your business is not always going to be at the top. And if you're a real entrepreneur, you have to be willing to stick with that and put your nose to the ground and figure it out until you get back on top. But what I hear on social media is a lot of women are like, I want a man that makes 7 figures. I want a 7-figure, like Sweetie said, I want a 7-figure dude. But do you know what comes with that? And if you do, are you willing to accept that? And you need to figure out in real terms, what does that look like, right? And are you offering what that man wants? Because a lot of this, you know, we really gave a hard time to Kevin Samuels, but a lot of the things he said were true. You know, I don't like his delivery, but a lot of the things that he said were very true.
Yeah. Sometimes people need a harsh truth, so I kind of get like the whole appeal with him, and I get the vitriol he gets too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, and everything you said, I mean, I'm on board with you with that too. It's like maybe dude ain't hit this mark, he ain't hit his number, but it's just like you might be missing out on your soulmate, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it is kind
Ambition,
of crazy.
I think ambition caps an actual dollar amount every time. And I also feel like, you know, if you are sitting on 7 figures in your bank account, God bless you. But please know that money comes and goes. But someone who truly values and cherishes you does not. And so you have to figure out if you really are there for the dollar amount, please understand that that's not guaranteed. And I think that's what's missing from the conversation is like, yes, he may have this money, but I know I grew up, my uncle was a millionaire from the time I was probably 10 or 11 years old. My uncle sold his company for $5 million, and the next year he went through trouble. Like his money has gone up and down, but what's remained consistent is who he is. So if you really understand business and you really understand what those 7 figures look like, then you know that it's not a consistent flow, right? Yeah. So that's what I feel like women need to take note of. What comes with those 7 figures? If he meets you after he has them, what is the value of you? You know, what do you bring to that to where he would want to risk everything? In fact, risk you taking half of that for what? Are you putting yourself in position for that man? And do you understand what that man is looking for? Because his preferences matter too. Once he has 7 figures, his preferences may not be what you're offering. So sis, you got to be on board and understand and just be realistic about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you get into journalism at first? Let's talk about you a little bit more in depth. You know what I mean? Like this we keep this going. We gotta get you back for part 2 very soon. Like we build it. But like your background in journalism, talk about rolling out and you know how you got to start in the PR and everything. Like give everybody how you actually built what you built thus far.
Well, like I said, I've been writing since I was little. Like that's what I would do for an escape. And I tell parents, like, make sure that you recognize and support and champion whatever it is your children do. I remember writing my first story when I was in 3rd grade, and I turned it in, and the teacher said, "You didn't write this." She thought I had cheated, right? And so she called my mother, and my mother was like, "No, Christal wrote this. She always would tell me, Christal, you're a great writer." From 3rd grade to today, writing has been what I've always done. However, I went to college. I was a broadcast journalism major. And I got married and had 2 children. And I felt like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. I just had my 2nd baby. I had gained some weight. I was feeling very self-conscious. So as a lot of women do, I put my dreams to the back. I focused on my husband and my children, and I started a career in PR, right? And I ended up loving it. I had so much fun. I got a chance to do things I only dreamed of doing, you know, doing press runs in New York to LA, running around with celebrity clients and really helping them present their best foot to the world. Moved to Atlanta and things just blew up, right? My company at one time was representing all these different celebrities, doing so many things that were fun, but I missed writing. And so Munson Steed is who was the publisher Rolling Out. He's one of my business mentors. And I would talk to him about, you know, the fact that I knew I wanted to do something else. One of the things that I think is really important in my story is I didn't ask him for an opportunity. I started doing this thing called a PR Minute on a YouTube channel. YouTube was not big back then, but I just started having a minute conversation about what entertainment PR was. He saw that and he said, you should do this for Rolling Out, but you should talk about relationships. So that's how I started with Rolling Out. From there, kept doing Rolling Out, got an opportunity to start doing Fox. I do a celebrity relationship segment for Fox 5. For then I started doing more conversation for Rolling Out. OWN asked me to do a digital series with them, their after show on their YouTube channel. And I started getting more and more offers. And then I became editor-in-chief for a new magazine that really celebrates Black culture and Black excellence called Lennox and Parker. Still with Rolling Out, handling relationships and their covers, which I've been able to do some amazing covers over the last 4 years. And then I also write for Collider. It's a pop culture magazine that focuses on reality TV. But all these opportunities came from my work. nothing was given to me. I hit the ground. I didn't ask for anything. And the opportunity came. I remember one of my mentors, Joyce Littell, who is known, you know, in this area. She's on WAOK. She was on B103. And she had this show called The Quiet Storm, and everyone knew Joyce's voice. And she just was so authentic in the way she handled herself. And I looked up to that so much. And I asked her for her advice. And she told me that whatever I do, to put all of myself into it. So whether it's my YouTube channel and the conversations I'm having there with reality stars that are on television doing dating shows, or writing a cover on Jada Pinkett. My cover comes out on Jada Pinkett on Thursday. I'm so excited and so proud of that. Or doing a cover. Yeah, I did a cover on Big Tigger, you know, last week. Somebody that I watched growing up. It helped me, you know, I lived in Oklahoma. Tigger was like who you would watch to understand what's going on in hip hop. So I've had a chance to, yeah, absolutely, like discover and really live out a lot of my dreams of people that I never thought I would be in the same room with. It really has come from me being unafraid of really putting in the work and allowing God to do the rest.
So you got looking out for real. You over here, Christal Jordan. You know, she got the book, The Alpha Female Is Not Him, It's You, and she got her hands in so much things. I mean, she was viral last week, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. It's gonna be up. So anything else you want to say to the people real quick, and how to get stay in touch and tune with what you got going on?
Well, I still do PR from time to time. I have been with TLC since 2005. They're my family. And yeah, man, when you look at, I was just writing a something on them for them today that we're going to put out. And I can't think of anyone that I would want, any group, what TLC represents for women. I'm so honored every time we work on a project. You know, they had a documentary that came out this summer titled TLC Forever on Lifetime. But just looking at what they were able to do for women, the fact that they were female empowerment before that became a term, right? I'm blessed to be able to represent and push forward women that have such an amazing influence. And what they've taught me is that if you just be yourself and stand for something, that you'll never know how many people you can reach. And so that's really what I strive to do. I strive to uplift women. I try to uplift everyone, but specifically women and women of color, because that's where I came from. So, but uplifting women does not mean that we're downplaying our men, because we need our brothers. We need to support them. We need to uplift and celebrate them as well. But I just wanted to say that part of my career has been so rewarding, because being able to work with a brand that has so much integrity and is timeless I appreciate it so much more, because we see music doesn't have those type of brands today, you know? So that's a huge thing. But I am everywhere. If you want to get a copy of Dear Alpha Female Is Not Him, Is You, which if you are a single woman, whether you're an alpha female or or whoever you are, if you're single and you really want love and you're not understanding why it's evading you, I would encourage you to pick up this book, because there is nothing bad that can come out of doing self-introspection. There is always room. And no matter how far we go, we should always be pushing to be a better person, so that when we do find that mate and God does bless you with that person, you're ready for them and you are able to be a compliment back to them. I would stop focusing so much on what I don't want and start being open to God about what I do want. And that's what I want to share, you know, with your listeners tonight. The book is everywhere. It's at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Walmart. You can pick it up anywhere. You can follow me on Instagram at Enchanted PR. And then also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I'm able to have amazing conversations with more people than Jada Pinkett. You know, I've talked to Jennifer Lewis and Tyler Perry and so many people. But, you know, Jada Pinkett went viral, so that's great. But I have great conversations that I think really add to the Black experience, especially when it comes to love and relationships. So I encourage you to join me on YouTube at From Christal with Love XO.
Yes, Christal Jordan, it's been a pleasure. Like, yo, we gotta get more time with you. Like, we gotta get a part 2. We gonna make that happen for real. Please stay in tune with us, and thank you for everything. Make sure you go out there, check out her book, check out her interviews, her podcast. You know, everything she do for the you know what I mean, for the coaching, man. Appreciate you for real.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Been a pleasure.
Nice to meet you. Have a great evening.
All right, you too.